Hello and welcome back. This is Nick Tasel's Plot broadcasting to you from Seoul, Korea. This is the Averatec-Intel Classic. We are in we have 64 players left. As you probably already know, last week we did see 64 players. We saw different games in that area. We're going to have 2 more days after this one of Group 6, or the round with 64 players in it. And then from there, we're going to move to the round 32. So we're trying to get as many StarCraft games to you guys as possible because StarCraft owns, and we enjoy showing it to you. The next matchup is going to be a Terran versus Terran, 52Layla versus XellOs. 52Layla, a very strong Terran player, but XellOs, I believe, will have the advantage here. XellOs is just a very, very well-known gamer. He, back in the day, was a top player, and then he kind of faded away just a little bit. People thought he might be past his time, and then he's come back now, and he's performing much better in tournaments, and I think we're going to have a great Terran versus Terran coming up. We did get my monitor fixed, so I now do have an in-game stream in front of me, which is very exciting. The first map's going to be Hills of Storm, and that will also be the first map that we'll see for every single game today. The next map is going to be Coliseum, and if we go to a third game, it will be on Andromeda. XellOs, again, a very popular player, has lots of female fans. Both players are in their booths now, so they're probably just making sure their settings are okay. Actually, I see XellOs has already joined the game, talking to the GOM TV Observer. By the way, a lot of people always ask us this, who is the GOM TV Observer? He's actually a former pro gamer known as Heaven 30 Dome. And he is, I had to say, being an observer for a StarCraft game is actually very difficult. I got a lot of respect for the guy. He's also a blast to go out and drink with. And now I see 52Layla has joined the game. So we got a Terran versus Terran on Hills of Storm. I'm not entirely sure how the players will play this out. I expect we'll see some pretty early expoing. Fast Command Center has become pretty popular. If not that, then we'll see a fast factory. And from there, the Terran has a multitude of options. Sorry if my voice is a little ripped up today. I'm drinking a lot of water, trying to keep it in good shape so I can scream a bunch during these StarCraft matches. Here's a shot of 52Layla. As you can see, he's 3-1. He's a fairly new pro gamer, 3-1 versus Terran, so a 75% win ratio. That's very good. Overall, you can see that he's a very strong new gamer, though. And yes, you can see at the bottom right, a lot of people do believe he is going to be one of these next-generation Terran players. Very rarely do you see top players stay number 1, and that's one thing to keep in mind. There's XellOs. I'm sure you can hear his female fans cheering. We actually, yeah, they're there now. We actually have a moat filled with alligators around that booth just to keep them at bay. He is nicknamed the Perfect Terran, and has pretty much overcome his slump, is now back on the scene. I think it's going to be a very interesting game, which is about to commence on Hills of Storm. 52Layla versus XellOs. 52Layla, a member of the STX team. XellOs, a member of CJ. CJ, of course, has other well-known players such as Savior. XellOs was also the winner of the World Cyber Games World Finals in Singapore. Actually, the first international tournament I ever casted. Stay tuned.
안녕하세요. 에텍스올의 태양이죠. 최현식입니다. 이번에 64강 2라운드에 올라가게 돼서 서지훈 선수와 붙게 되었는데 아직 서지훈 선수와 한 게임도 못 해봤기 때문에 많이 기대되고 연습을 많이 해서 좋은 모습 보여주겠습니다.
That was a brief introduction by 52Layla. All of these gamers who are pretty new to the scene, we make sure they have an introduction video so that the future fans of these gamers will have a better idea of who they are and, you know, who they're training with and whatever else he says in those introduction videos. My Korean's not quite good enough to follow. So both players are in the game. They're actually both wishing each other good luck right now. And I think the game's about to start.
2008 TG Sambo Intel Classic. StarCraft Universe, welcome to the Korea Ultimate Tournament. Get ready.
XellOs is going to be the white Terran. That makes Layla the red. So here we have XellOs at the top left and Layla at the bottom right. So far, all the games that we've seen today have been games which involve cross spots. Supply Depot will, of course, come first. From there, I suspect we're going to see either Fast Command Center or a Fast Factory. However, some people have gone for proxy barracks in the middle of the map. And there is a XellOs handkerchief. Don't blow your nose with it. If anything, put it over your face and rob a bank. Unfortunately, 52Layla does not have his own handkerchief brand yet. So as we can see, the supply depot is being thrown down for both guys. Looks like XellOs is going to put that depot in the back behind the minerals so that the SCVs are less likely to take the long way to get to the minerals and move around to the back. The pathfinding in StarCraft is not the best. This is a very old game. It's still the best RTS out there. There's no contest there. Terran players a lot of times put their depots there because it forces the SCV to come out closer to the mineral patch. I can't remember if it's if they do that for the minerals on the left or on the right, because I'm actually a Protoss player. I did play random though, a long time ago, about 5 years ago. Got to about B2 on World Game Tour. But then I started playing Protoss when I wanted to become competitive. And because I think cannon rushing people is funny. So Fast Command Center for XellOs. So two different builds right off the bat. XellOs going to go for the Fast Command Center. Could be at risk for some harassment early on. Meanwhile, 52Layla going for the more standard build of getting that Fast Factory. Will he get a starport? Will he get an additional factory? We'll have to wait and find out. The barracks is being constructed near the entrance for XellOs' base. That's to prevent vulture bikes from sneaking in. The common technique is to rush in with one vulture, since your opponent's going to get the factory out a little bit later. And we can see that there's only one SCV in the refinery for 52Layla. More than likely we'll see an early command center. The command center is about to finish. Look at XellOs' timing, the perfect Terran sending his SCVs right the moment that the command center finishes. And we can see 52Layla has now spotted his opponent. We also see XellOs is pulling around, now going directly towards his opponent, realizing that the timing of that scouting SCV indicates where his opponent is. Pro gamers like this know immediately when your scouting unit comes into your base what position you're most likely going to be in. Again, sorry, my voice is a little ripped up today. I was casting some Warcraft 3 games and StarCraft games on Thursday. First Marine is out, going to try to pick off this bunker, but the bunker finishes and is now loaded with Marines. And here comes the Vulture. Will he manage to sneak through, or will he save that attempt? Two factories out for XellOs. Well, one is out, another one's being produced. As you can see, we've changed the lighting in the GOM studio. It looks kind of like we're broadcasting these games inside of a volcano. tank will soon be out. 52Layla not playing aggressive, instead pretty defensive, both players macroing. Rather than going for some type of aggressive micro opening. The barracks has been lifted. This would be an ample opportunity to rush in there with the Vulture. Will he do it? I'm not sure. It looks like XellOs has an SCV ready to construct probably an engineering bay or something else to block off the Vulture if it attempts to come in. Layla is making sure that XellOs can't get out of his base with the scouting SCV by using that Vulture. And with the Vulture at half health, it's very unlikely he'll try to move in. Starport coming out. Dropships are critical in Terran versus Terran because the Terran army is powerful but not very mobile, such as tanks with siege mode. Oh, looks like he's going to get the Vulture. Nope. Because the Terran army, as I said, is pretty immobile, they can use dropships to get to places a lot quicker and secure positions. The armory is now finished, and the armory is producing for XellOs. One Wraith for XellOs. He'll probably use that to scout. So it might indicate that he's going to get his academy a little bit later, and is instead going to depend on that Wraith to get a good idea of what his opponent's doing. He really hasn't gotten a very strong idea of what's going on in that area. And after that, he'll get the add-on and start making the dropships. So again, a pretty defensive game. We might not see either player engage each other right off the bat. The +1 attack upgrade for the mechanical units is critical. Tanks in siege mode dealing a lot more damage with such an upgrade. The Wraith is out and will now scout around. Looks like XellOs is going to lose that barrack, so he will end up getting his other factories out a little bit later. The barracks is great for scouting the Terran versus Terran because it's so big and you don't really make Marines in the matchup, so you might as well lift it off and float it around. But the Wraith can actually get in there and go to places that are faster. Well, he can get there faster. So now both players have to reconstruct the barracks. XellOs knows exactly what kind of unit mixture his opponent has, and has decided that now he's going to move forward, probably going to go for some type of contain. The room has really filled up a lot more since these two players started playing. These players are both a bit pretty notable. XellOs particularly so. And it does indeed appear that Layla has actually put his tanks in siege mode, but XellOs will secure this high ground position. Nice tank spread there too. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time, SCV. XellOs getting his factories out a little bit faster because he did manage to pull off that fast expand. Layla not very aggressive at all at the start of this game. But one dropship is now out for Layla. He will get those dropships out a little bit faster. And if Layla does not want to fly over these Goliaths, if he can get in to his opponent's base, oh, but this could be really bad. It looks like he might end up walking over it. Barely out of view. Looks like one Goliath spotted it. He's not going to back off. Losing the first dropship is really bad news in Terran versus Terran. You want your dropship count to be high so you can maneuver around the map at a quick rate. Spotting the one Wraith, he drops immediately. Although I believe this group of Goliaths may be stuck. If they can't get out of here quickly, XellOs going to use this Wraith to try to bait the dropship into staying. Some back and forth micro action here. Looks like Layla has managed to save the dropship. Now two dropships out. He'll probably use those dropships to try to break the contain. Layla's already expanding at the top right, but look at this. XellOs expanding in the middle. That expansion has more Vespian gas geysers so he can get more factories out. However, that location is also very weak to aggressive dropship usage because it is on low ground and is next to a high ground area. Looks like Layla's dropships have been spotted. They're now heading towards XellOs' main, and this is a wise decision indeed because XellOs has most of his units at the contain point, but they may be intercepted. Nice drop over here by Layla, but is it enough? Tanks are sieging up now. And the location, but no, XellOs has way too many tanks down here at the bottom. The Academy is about to finish scans, also very critical in Terran versus Terran. You want to scan so you can spot the tanks in siege mode before you walk into them. Looks like Layla's now going to try to move up over here on the side. And I don't believe it's going to be that effective. Especially now that it's been spotted, XellOs should be able to respond accordingly. XellOs has had a bit of an economic advantage because he did go for the fast command center and because Layla did not opt to be aggressive. Here he comes now, pushing back Layla's army. And now this 2 tanks and 2 Goliaths are isolated. It appears as though XellOs lost his barracks again somewhere in this game and is now having to reconstruct it. Moving in now, he will take out these 2 tanks and the Goliaths. Meanwhile, XellOs has spotted the expansion at the top right, so Layla will have no advantage economically. And XellOs still has this expansion up in the middle, and it's not been touched. I'm not even sure if it's been scanned. Layla expanding again at the right. Looks like he's sending SCVs over there anyways. Layla attempting to buy some time before the command center burns down, and he will manage to save this expansion. Excuse me, I assumed it would be taken out. And a smart move by Layla, sending his SCVs over there, even though he knew it was under attack, confident that he could defend it. No time wasted here. And here comes XellOs now with a counterattack to the main. Layla does not seem to have enough units here to defend this. Too many Goliaths and too many tanks. Layla will have to respond quickly, and here comes even more units. Layla short on SCVs. The Academy will be taken out. No scanner at the new expansions for Layla. Here comes Layla from behind, but it looks like he may be caught in between XellOs' units. XellOs target firing the tanks, knowing which units he has to take out. And in fact, he will manage to hold off that attack, although it appears as though XellOs is now reinforcing that. And XellOs is expanding, putting a command center right next to that other command center. Pretty much confident that he's going to kill that off in a minute. Layla in a difficult position, and XellOs will have a higher tank count because he does have an expansion with 2 refineries. And tanks are everything in this matchup. SCVs versus tanks. And yet, it does indeed appear that this expansion at the top right is once again under fire. Meanwhile, Layla neglects the expansion, instead heads down here to the bottom left. XellOs expanding to the middle again, now having 2 middle expansions. Unfortunately for Layla, he's been losing too many SCVs this game. And I expect XellOs will win this in probably about 5 minutes. Due to all the skirmishes going on the map, XellOs should be gaining more units at a rate at which Layla can't catch up with. Here he comes now. XellOs probably going to run over Layla's army, keeping a lot of attention onto the mains, knowing that he can then counterattack to the expansions, which should be undefended. Layla using SCVs to get in front of the tanks, a common technique, but unfortunately he's losing too many SCVs as it is. Now the dropship's under fire, the command center enraged with the siege tanks. And GG. There was simply put nothing Layla could do to come back. XellOs was ahead from the beginning and maintained that advantage. There he is, the perfect Terran. Is he holding a gun in that picture? I'm not sure. So wow, that just turned out to be an easy win for XellOs. The next map will be Coliseum. Now XellOs is already at a 1-0 lead. Layla is behind one game, but could possibly come back. I see now that Layla has joined the game already. XellOs has not, actually. Probably going to take about a minute or two off to think and recollect himself so that he can come out with a 2-0 victory. Again, we're in the final 64, taking specific hand-picked games from different parts of the final 64 group. So if he wins this, he will be moving to the final 32 in the largest tournament in Korea with the largest prize pool. The only tournament right now with English coverage. This tournament is a big deal. We hope you're enjoying it. I know I am. Coliseum, an interesting map. We can see a lot of technical Terran versus Terran rushes. I think Layla just was not aggressive enough and was also attacking in locations that were just not in his favor. And from there, it was just a downward spiral where XellOs got too big, too fast. XellOs, because he secured that fast expansion, was then able to secure the critical center expansion with the double Vespian gas geysers. And economically, it was just an uphill battle for Layla the entire time. XellOs has joined the game. I think we're going to be starting in just a minute here. Thanks again to our sponsors at Averatec-Intel. No, in fact, we're going to be talking here for a little bit longer. My apologies. But again, a 1-0 lead for XellOs. Terran versus Terran. This is the second game of the tournament at the GOM TV Averatec-Intel Classic. We hope you're enjoying it. We could see the female fans in the audience for XellOs are very excited that he's won that game. And probably hoping that he can pull out a second win. XellOs, one of the most notable pro gamers on the scene today. We also have some other very notable Protoss, or not just Protoss players, but actually just pro gamers in general. We have Reach in the next game, and the final game will even have Savior. As you can see, we started off the tournament, and not all these players were that well known, but as we start to eliminate them, we see the top gamers coming out on top, making this tournament more and more exciting as time progresses. And both players say they're ready, so I think we're going to get started. I hope we're going to get started. Stay tuned.